Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to yet another video. Today we are predicting the Carabao Cup quarter-final predictions. We are going to see which of these 8 teams get through to the final 4 of this competition. It is getting interesting now, guys. There's big games coming, so do get your predictions down below. Let me know if you agree or disagree down in the comments. Do make sure to hit that like button. We'll go for 200 thumbs up on this video, and do subscribe if you haven't already. Gotta say, the FA Cup was certainly dramatic at the weekend. Could we see any upsets in the quarterfinals of this competition? Well, let's get into it. We start at Old Trafford. Manchester United versus the lowest ranked team left in this competition, Charlton Athletic of League One. Now let's start with Manchester United. They'd obviously want to win a cup under Ten Hag in his first season, and they've been going pretty strong. They're 4th in the Premier League. They've won 7 in a row in all competitions. They've conceded just 1 goal in their last 5, and that was a bit of an error against Everton. So they are flying, but Charlton Athletic are in town. Now, I know Manchester United fans might be licking their lips thinking, oh, we've got the easiest tie. I wouldn't look at it that way. We've just seen in the FA Cup what can happen, and Charlton Athletic have been improving recently. They sit in the middle of the League One table, and if they could put a good run together, who knows? They could make the playoffs. It seems unlikely, but they're certainly going to be up for this. I'm sure there's thousands of Charlton fans making the journey up to Old Trafford here. Charlton are 12th in League One. They've picked up back-to-back wins in their last 2 games. They have only picked up 2 away wins in the league this season, but they've got key players like Raksaki, Fraser, Leeburn. Could they make a difference in this game today? It will be interesting to see. Charlton, as I say, are going to be right up for this, but this is one of them where Manchester United are such odds-on favourites. Let's not forget, Charlton took out Brighton and Hove Albion in the last round when it went all the way to penalties. I'm going to go for it. I'm not just trying to be controversial. Charlton Athletic are not a bad team. They're going to come to Old Trafford, get a 1-1 and win on penalties. Mark my words, Charlton Athletic are going to squeeze through here. Manchester United, just when you think they're looking good, they're going to be embarrassed. Manchester United 1, Charlton 1, Charlton to win on penalties. On to the next one then. It's an all-Premier League matchup between Newcastle United and Leicester. Now, Newcastle were unbeaten in 15 games in all competitions before losing to Sheffield Wednesday in the FA Cup at Hillsborough. Now, can they recover? Most certainly. They'll go pretty strong for this one, you'd imagine. And at home as well, they'll have their crowd right behind them. As I say, they're in very good form. They did beat Leicester away 3-0 on Boxing Day. Now, Leicester come into this with 3 defeats in 3 in their last 3 Premier League games. But they did win 1-0 away at Gillingham. You'd have expected them to win that. 1-0's not the most amazing scoreline, but they got through. They did their job. Now their attention is over to the Carabao Cup, and Leicester City's season's been far from scintillating. I do think they'll stay up in the Premier League, but I don't think they're going to be competing for the top 7 or top 8. So maybe a cup run is their salvation this season. But I just think Newcastle United, it almost seems written in the stars for them to pick up a trophy this season. I think they're going to get the top 4 in the Premier League, and they might even win the Carabao Cup, especially now they're at the FA Cup. This is what they've got to go for. So I'm going to back Newcastle, and at home I think it'll be quite comfortable. I'm going to say Newcastle United 2-0. The Geordies go into the semi-finals of this competition. On to the next one, an all-Premier League matchup again. It's Nottingham Forest versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now, both sides in the Premier League are battling for survival. They have played this season, Wolves running out 1-0 winners at Molineux, where Forest missed a penalty late on through Brennan Johnson. Now, this game is massive. Forest come into it with some big results in the Premier League recently, but they did just lose to Blackpool 4-1. I didn't expect them to lose that game in the manner they did. Obviously, it was embarrassing for them, but I think they will recover. Obviously, their priority this season is to stay up in the Premier League, but in this competition, they've now got this far into it. I think they really want to progress, and who knows, they're 1 win away from the semi-finals, 2 wins away from the final. If they avoid Manchester City in the next round, I actually think Forest could get to the final here. It's a massive game. Forest recently have scored 12 in their last 8 games in all competitions. Like I say, in this competition, they are looking very good. They did dump Spurs out 2-0 at the City Ground. They did win away at Blackburn 4-1. Blackburn, we say, you know, good championship team. They've kept 3 clean sheets in their last 7 games in all competitions. And we know under Steve Cooper, Forest can go on cup runs. They did quite well, and they got to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup last year, and they're good in these knockout games. Remember how well they did in the Championship playoffs last year. Well, let's have a little look at Wolves. Wolves have won 1 away game in all competitions this season, which isn't great, but it was recently when they beat Everton away 2-1 with that late goal. Since then, they've lost to Manchester United narrowly. They picked up a draw against Villa, and they played out a very entertaining draw at Anfield. So Wolves are certainly competitive, and I think they're going to fancy their chances for this one. But they are the lowest goal scorers in the Premier League. So if they were to win this, it could be a 1-0 kind of game. I think it's going to be tight. I think defences will probably come out on top in this one. And I think one of the teams will keep a clean sheet here. I'm going to back Nottingham Forest to sneak a 1-0 win. Forest just to have enough, just to take one chance and keep it tight at the back and go through to the semi-finals of this competition, which would be unbelievable for a team that came up through the Championship playoffs last year. Unbelievable. I'm going for Forest 1-0. The last game is once again an all-Premier League matchup. It's Southampton versus Manchester City. It's bottom of the Premier League versus second in the Premier League. Manchester City are obviously going to try and chase down Arsenal this season. They're 5 points behind them in the Premier League. They come into this game with 2 wins in a row against Chelsea. They've just beaten them 4-0 in the FA Cup. Before that, they won 1-0 away at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. Southampton, meanwhile, bit of a crisis there. They haven't really won any games in the league recently. They've lost 4 in a row in the league under Nathan Jones, but they did pick up a very good win at Crystal Palace in the FA Cup at the weekend, which I didn't expect, so I'll give Southampton some credit for that. Now, obviously, Nathan Jones has been brought in to keep Southampton in the Premier League, but until he can get something in the Premier League, get his first win, these cup wins could buy him a bit of time. And I tell you what, a win here against Manchester City, and it'd be in everyone's good books. Surely, though, Southampton can't beat Manchester City. You just think Manchester City have got to win a few trophies this season. You know what they're about. They mop up the trophies, and I think they'll get the better of Southampton here. But Southampton in those last couple of games showing signs of little improvement if you want to take anything away from it. They have got James Ward-Prowse. They have got Che Adams, so maybe they could hurt Manchester City once, but I just don't know if I could see Southampton scoring more than one. In fact, I think they might not score at all. I think Manchester City are going to do what they do best and keep a clean sheet, and I think it'll be a 1-0 win. I don't know if Manchester City are going to go full strength. If they do, we all know Erling Haaland's on 27 goals for the season, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's scary, to be honest. I think Southampton will be in the game, but I think Manchester City will pinch it 1-0. So that means it'll be Charlton, Nottingham Forest, Newcastle and Manchester City in my final 4. Guys, get your predictions down below. I've gone for a couple of upsets in there. Let me know your opinions down in the comments. Do make sure to drop a like. Do make sure to subscribe. We'll probably do some live streams for a couple of these games on Tuesday and Wednesday, so look out for those. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.